Foreword. I first came to meet the Venerable Meditation Master, Ajahn Chaya, after an unexpected chain of events found me talking one day with the abbot of a Thai Buddhist temple in Tucson, Arizona. Although I'd identified as being a Buddhist, a Zen Buddhist, that is, for nearly 20 years at the time, and found myself to be relatively mature in scholarship, I was still rather adolescent in the ways of practice. I was lacking in precisely what made one a Buddhist, which is putting into practice what the Buddha taught. While living in Alaska one summer, I'd hit a minor version of rock bottom. With little provocation, I erupted one day in an outburst that left me disenchanted with my whims and ashamed of my angst. I suddenly realized that I'd spent the last 15 years of my life ceaselessly chasing my selfish desires and running from whatever made me uncomfortable. This was not the behavior of a Buddhist. It was time for a change. I happened one day into a Thai forest tradition monastery in Anchorage. The Thai forest tradition, an austere tradition primarily found within the Dhammayutta Nikaya order of Thai Theravada Buddhism, is a tradition grounded in intensive meditative effort, strict adherence to the monastic code of conduct, a lifestyle of simplicity, and an attitude of renunciation. The aim of monks in this tradition is the attainment in this lifetime of the cessation of suffering, or nibbana. The forest monks I met there in the snowy north were devoted and simple, kind and welcoming. Their warmth and the apparent sincerity of their practice spoke to me. I spent much of the next 6 weeks at that monastery. My heart never left. But at the end of that summer, I returned to the lower 48 and my home in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I'd lived for some 14 years. It was time to find a nearby Thai temple to be my new spiritual home. I had no idea at the time that Thai Theravada Buddhism had another order, the Maha Nikaya, which is a vibrant and necessary order whose monastics outnumber Dhammayutta Nikaya monastics by perhaps 10 to 1. To a significant degree, Maha Nikaya is an order that tends to emphasize scholarship and service to the community over wholehearted individual commitment to a way of life, intended to lead to the realization of nibbana in this lifetime. The Ajahn Chah lineage is a notable exception to this, I would later learn. I remembered an unremarkable experience some years earlier at the only Thai temple I'd known of in Las Vegas, a Maha Nikaya temple, as it turned out. And it just hadn't touched my heart the way that Wat Alaska Yana Vararam eventually would. And so I felt my hometown didn't have what I was looking for. I'd much later learned that there were about 10 Thai temples scattered across the sprawling city, including a single lonely Dhammayutta Nikaya temple out in the desert on the edge of the city. I wouldn't hear of that temple until after I moved away to California in 2019. Each winter, my wife and I travel to the east coast of the United States to visit our parents. Typically, we take the northern highways through Flagstaff, Dallas, and the like on our way to Florida in late November, and the southern highways through Houston, El Paso, and Tucson on our return to Las Vegas and eventually California in mid-January. It was on the return trip, the winter after my fateful experience in Alaska, that I decided to pop into a Thai Buddhist temple in Tucson. I was greeted by an especially friendly elderly American layman who would later ordain as a samanera, or novice monk, under his teacher Ajahn Sariyut Arnanta, who was the Tucson temple's abbot. I expressed to the layman that I was in search of someone who could teach me the ways of practice. He put me in touch with Ajahn Sariyut, who asked me where I lived. I told him Las Vegas. And that's when he recommended to me a great and venerated, highly qualified meditation master. His name was Ajahn Chaya. He was a Burmese monk, a disciple of Mahasi Sayadaw, and the abbot of a meditation monastery, that is, an intensive practice center, only 30 minutes from my home in the northwest of Las Vegas. I went to see the great master as soon as I arrived home. On our first meeting, Ajahn Chaya explained to me the basics of insight meditation practice, that is, training the mind to stay with the rising and falling of the abdomen while softly noting these movements, and I responded by asking him what I could do to help out at the monastery. His reply was direct: just practice. And thus was the start of a beautiful student-teacher relationship between myself and Ajahn, or Luang Por, a Thai honorific, meaning Venerable Father, Chaya. This simple directive, just practice, might be an excellent way to characterize the overall teachings of Luangpur Chaya. His instructions are to the point, often brief, and always direct one to what's necessary, putting into practice what the Lord Buddha taught. Upasaka Chan, Santa Barbara, October 2020.